everyone. Welcome to an awesome day of FileMaker Training. I'm Richard Carlton, creator of FMTrain.tv, where every day, Monday through Friday, we are doing great FileMaker training here on this channel. So this recording is a replacement recording for one that we did today. The recording today didn't turn out quite the way I hoped, and there was a little bit of confusion on it. So I am spending the extra time tonight to re-record this for everyone so you can have a clear explanation of this material. So today's conversation is all about GTRR, go to related record, and kind of a hidden feature of it. And so what I'm going to do initially is walk us through the go to related record, and then I'm going to discuss with you how we can do this thing called tog hopping. So this conversation is one that would come after you have learned and understood what is anchor buoy, because when you understand anchor buoy, you understand how to design the relational diagram within the FileMaker platform. So if I go over here into our little sample file right here, I pop it open. This is a sample file that Claris put together a while back, and we've updated it. So this is a sample contact database right here. That's all we're using it for, nothing overly exciting. But what I want to do is I want to go to File, Manage Database. And so, of course, we have the tables, we have the fields, and the relationship graph is something we've been talking about a number of times because people just have a hard time understanding this. And if you understand about how anchor buoy works, then you can understand how to build the database and start to make sense of it. In fact, if you open FM Starting Point, you can start to understand how we built what we built. It's a major awareness moment or awakening moment for a lot of FileMaker people who are fairly new, right? So you understand that you can build tables, you put some fields in, and then you start building layouts, but then how do you know what goes where in here? Well, that is the previous video on anchor buoy, which is a really important item to understand. So coming from that was this idea of table occurrence groups, or TOGs, T-O-G. And so this is a TOG. This is a separate tog. Why are they separate? Because there's no cross connection somehow. There's nothing cross connected. If they were cross connected, then they would be together one group. But these are separate groups, and the names that are on the groups, I name them, I give them numbers. This group is the TO4 group. You can see right here, if I zoom in a little bit, we have TO4 right here, TO4 A, B, C, and then there's TO4 B1 right here. So all these, because they're part of the TO4 group, we call them TO4. I named them that. They could have been Blue Rubber Ducky 55. It doesn't matter, but I give these things sequential numbers. So Table Occurrence Group 03. Now these are separate groups here. There happens to be nothing else connected to it. So, but because they're separate, I still consider them groups. So 1, 2, 3, 4. 5 had some things connected to it. 6 and 7 don't. If you look at FM Starting Point, it's a lot more complicated. You'll see where there's quite a few things coming off there. We addressed that in the previous video. So let's talk about go to related record real quick. So if I'm over here, what I want to do is go to File Management Database. I want to take a picture of this because I need to reference this. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to zoom in a smidge on this, and I'm going to take a screenshot of this little piece right here down to here. And we're going to reference this because I need to look at scripts, and I also need to reference this at the same time. You can't do both, have both windows really going at the same time where you can interact with them. And so what I'm going to do is I'm going to say, okay, I didn't make any changes there. The screenshot's over here, so we can reference that as we go through the scripts. So let's talk briefly about what go-to related record is, GTRR. Let's talk about what its normal behavior is before we talk about a little hidden secret feature of it, which is really what today's about. It's about tog hopping. But when I shot this earlier today, we didn't spend the time to explain what go to related record is first. So if you're already an expert at go to related record, you're like some sort of super FileMaker ninja and you have all that down, then just jump ahead in the video probably about halfway and you'll see the conversation about tog hopping. Real quick, if I go to script workspace and I have this script called go to, all it has is go to related records in it. So if I show the left and I show the right, everyone recognizes this. It's a script I have down here at the bottom. So what I want to do is talk about this. So I'm just going to build a brand new script just to keep it simple. And I'm going to call it delete me. I've seen other people do this in the community. In fact, some of the programmers at Claris, when they're working on the actual product, when they actually have code in their Xcode systems and they know that they want to delete it in the future and it's a throwaway, they will mark delete me on it. That way, when they see it in the future and they don't remember what it is, they know, they trust their own note just to delete it. So I've marked it delete me. I'm going to say go to related records. I type GTRR, and FileMaker anticipates I'm looking for the acronym go to related record. So this is the essential part that I didn't really hammer well enough today. And this is the fact that when you run this command right here, when you set it up, you set it up kind of generically, okay? This command right here is not really taking into account anything over here. When this command runs, it's going to attempt to grab related data from a location if it can. So what it doesn't show us is where we're originating from, because what this command does, it says when it runs, it knows where you're at the time you're in the command. So when we run go to related records, we're at some location. Remember, we talked about FileMaker scripting, the mechanics of FileMaker scripting, step 1, step 2, step 3. We're walking someone through it. When we call a specific script command, we know what layout we're on. We absolutely should know that. If we don't know that, something really bad has happened. So I would know, looking at the screen, that I'm on this layout over here. I can't get to it right here, but it's right here. I'm on this layout. Okay, and technically, if I come over here, I'm on a layout that belongs to this right here. Okay, so this layout here belongs to this table occurrence group right here. Okay, which means that if I am here, go to related record can take me to anywhere in here. Does that make sense? So this layout belongs to this table occurrence, like the little Lego man, right? With the Lego face put there. So our layout is here, little Lego person. I'm going to have him pop up here. And he or she can see any of these locations. If I'm over here, I can still call this script. However, when I set it up, I have to target a specific place. So when I set the script up initially, I said, well, I really want to get the related records from, say, here. And so that is the destination of where we want to jump to get the related records. And it'll say, show them in the current layout, if possible, or show in a different layout, okay? And so I can switch down here to like donation and say, show me the layout, and it'll show me the eligible layouts that can display that table occurrence. So once again, we're going to jump through a relationship, but to display it, we have to show it through a layout, right? So what we're telling the computer, go to related record, a real fundamental situation is that we are here on a layout here, and I happen to know we're here. This script doesn't care. All it says is take me somewhere to a table occurrence and show me the data through that layout. And it's going to show you the layouts here that are eligible to show that. So if I go to campaign right here, say I want to set it to campaign, then it has to be a layout that's fundamentally connected to campaigns. So this is a member table. This is some other donation table, but over here is a campaign table, base table, with a campaign table occurrence. The layout has to be attached to that. Once again, this is the conversation back from Anchor Buoy. I beat on this really hard on the previous video. I'm going to try to make sure these videos stay together so you can watch that one, then watch this one. We're kind of jumping from one to the next video. It's a logical conversation if you start at the beginning. So if I do campaign, I come down here, it should show me a layout that says something about campaign, and there's one right here. Now, if I had a bunch of layouts attached to this table occurrence, remember, a table occurrence is at the base of the structure. So once again, remember the other day when I was drawing pictures with my hand, I said base tables, then above base tables are table occurrences, and above those are layouts. So layouts are attached to table occurrences are attached to base tables. This is a table occurrence. It could have 0 or 1 or more than one layouts associated with it that are attached to it. So if I say target this, go to related records here and target that, FileMaker is going to automatically detect how many layouts are attached to TO4B1. And it turns out from our standpoint right here in this demonstration that this one right here is attached, okay? This layout called campaign right here. It's actually associated TO7. Just take my word for it. It's going to show you the eligible layouts, okay? Very, very important. So that's the basics of how go to related records work. So when you set this command up, you don't know where you're starting from at the time you build the script step. I mean, you should, right? Like if we're over here scripting, we should know that by the time we get over here, go to this layout, do a find, do this, and do this. So we know as a scripting person, as a coder, as a developer, where we are. However, this script step is a self-contained script step. It doesn't know where we're at the time you set it up. Does that make sense? So this can be run. I could copy this and run this in a bunch of different places from different contexts. Okay, and every time, no matter where I start this from, it's going to attempt to take me to TO4B1. If I'm over here and I attempt to go to TO4B1, is there a path through there? No, that generates an error 101. If I'm down here, no, it's an error 101. There's no path between here and there. Is there a path between here and there? No, there's not. So it's an error 101. It will not work. And if you suppress the error in FileMaker and you don't trap for the error, you run the GTRR and nothing happens, right? So keep in mind that's a thing. So GTR will attempt to take you where it was told to go, regardless of your current spot. If it has a valid path, because I'm in here, or I'm in here, or I'm in here, or I'm in here, that's a valid path. It can jump there. Okay. So that's what this is. So this is where it's going to end up, and these are the layouts associated with that. You could also tell it to, when we get there, when we pop this layout, show it in a new window, and then also show me only the related records. So this is the fundamentals of GTRR. You need to understand this, okay? If you have more questions about it, I can go to help in FileMaker right here. I say FileMaker Pro help. I could try GTRR, see if that'll bring it up. There it is. Go to related record. Okay, excellent. So go to related record specifies the source of the relationship from a list of tables, the current database. That is not great. It's not the source relationship. I would not use those words. I would call it the relationship through which you can get to a destination to generate. The word source here does not mean source and destination where you start, where you end. It means it's going to generate some sort of, through the relationship, a filter to limit those records. So once again, the wording here is sometimes confusing. It's why I get confused as an instructor. Sometimes a lot of questions come in. I'm thinking about something else. I'll get confused by this. The idea is that it's going to attempt to specify the source relationship, just the relationship from a list of tables in the database. So when you set it up, it's going to, once again, over here, just for entertainment value, if I go to here and I go to here and I hit the little dialog, this is a source of all the table occurrences in the current file. Once you target a table occurrence, then it will show you the, once again, eligible layouts from which you can display the data. This takes FileMaker there, but it can't display TO4, okay? There's no such thing as displaying that table occurrence, but it can show you the layout attached to it, right? I keep saying these things, repeating myself, but I think sometimes that people, 2 or 3 times, they finally start to hear it. So while we're driving there, we've driven here, we can't display that. We have to find a layout that will show us that information. That's what that says. So go back to the description here. Talks about external tables. We might cover that in a little bit. Show only related records. Creates a found set of related records at the destination site after it goes through that relationship. And either it can show you a match for the current record over here. So if I was on this Angela Norris, it could show me only the matches for Angela, or it could show me, maybe if I had a found set of 5 records, it could show me the matches for Angela and the other 4 records, all 5 records in a group. Kind of cool, right? Once again, that's GTRR. Okay, so real quick on this compatibility part right here. They built an animation in here, and the animations originally, back in the day, were supposed to be put in for Macs and Windows, and Claris couldn't get Windows to work, so they dropped it for Mac, but it's still in Go. So when they say it's only partially compatible, it's basically fully compatible with everything, at least in terms of FileMaker Server running the script, Pro running the script, Go running the script, WebDirect running the script, FileMaker Cloud running a script on this server side is fine. These 2 down here, you'd want to test to make sure they work correctly, but I think they'd be okay. The partials, because they won't animate. The screen won't animate or do something, flip or something, or whatever it does on Go. I'm not really worried about that right now. I just want everyone to understand this. So this is the fundamentals. So it's going to go, GTRR is going to attempt to drive to this spot, to this TO, and then show you the data through this layout, and it might pop a window if you ask it to pop a new window, and it may show you the new related records. So what is tog hopping? Tog hopping is this. It was written up. This was written by an article by Chris Moyer, who is a fantastic FileMaker developer, and this technique goes back so far. He wrote an article about it in FileMaker magazine. Most of you never even heard of FileMaker magazine. That was when the Pony Express in 1812 ran across the United States to deliver the mail from the East Coast of the United States to the West Coast of the United States. the mail it delivered was the FileMaker magazine. It's that old. So Chris Moyer, back when he was young and good looking, and I'm messing with him, he wrote this article. And I thought the article was so good, I kept a copy of it. And then one day we OCR'd it and read it back in. So this is it right here. So this is the article. You get the sample file. You can read this right here real quick. I can zoom out a little bit. But the idea, people think I'm saying frog hopping. I'm not frog hopping. I'm tog hopping. Okay. This is Chris with the choir there with the singing frogs. So real quick, I'm going to summarize this. He says, undoubtedly, sometimes you will want to transfer a found set from one layout to another layout, which lets you continue working with the same data from a new context. So let me just click over here real quick and talk about context real quick. So remember when we talked about anchor buoy, we could have a group here, and this could be like members, and you could have like 20 or 30 table occurrence buoys here. This is supposed to be the anchor. These are the buoys that support it. The main layout's attached to this, right? And I said, well, if things get really crazy or exciting, you could have be over here, maybe in members over here or members over here, and you would want the same found set and sort that you had here. So when I'm here, I have so let's just say I'm going to do a find, Command F. I'm going to find for A. Okay, I have a sort. I have 3 records in the found set, and let's say I'm going to do a sort. I'm going to do a sort right here. I'm going to sort by member name. Done. Okay, I have a found set and a sort set, sort state. If I say new window, we get the same. We're on the same layout, and it generates. It starts us off in the new window with the same found set and sort state. However, over here, I can unsort. Sort. I can say unsort. I can show all the records. I can omit some records. I can do whatever. So really, when you spawn one window from another window, initially, it gives you an identical copy. It works because we are on the same layout, right, which belongs to the same table occurrence, okay? So, but then once you jump and they're separate windows, then they can be independent of each other. That makes sense. They start off identical, and then they can go on different paths. So Chris is saying in here that, it would really be great if we could transfer the one found set to another layout and allow you to continue working from a different context. When he says different context, he means that you have relocated yourself to a different part of the graph. So you're on this table occurrence. This layout here belongs to this table occurrence here. And we have this found set, the most important found set in the galaxy. These 3 records, and they're sorted. Like this is like the winning lottery number. This is worth millions of dollars to the right person. Okay, so we want to preserve this information, but go to a different context and work on it. Why would you want a different context? A million different reasons why you might want a different context, but we would still be in the members table, right? Because the idea is that you have members here, conveniently I have members down here. And it could have other things attached to it. This TO6, totally different configuration, different screen, that type of thing. What if you wanted to take that found set, because you're writing a script, and transfer it from the screen you're on to a layout over here? Well, if I'm over here and I tell the computer, if I say new window right here, it just duplicates it. If I go into scripts real quick, you'll see the problem with this. I create a new script. I'm going to call it new window from T06. So when I come down here and I can say new window command, and I say new window command and get it from the layout called we want one with T06. Do I have one with T06 in here? T06 right here. So these are the 2 that we're going to be playing with over here. I put the table occurrence number in the layout name. I don't normally do that, but for simplicity here, in case you couldn't see this part, if you just see the name over here, right, it's T04, T06. So what I want to say is pop a new window and take me to that, okay? And I can make the size and whatever. I can just move it around to be some other location from the top and the left and whatever. And this is where you could do a card style window, all kinds of things. But I'm on here. Okay, I'm going to save it. I'm on this layout right here. I'm going to hit play, jump, bam. Now, I am on still the same base table. This layout here belongs to this one down here. This layout belongs to this one down here. I told it to spawn a new window and come over here. However, it didn't bring over with me the found set. It didn't bring over the found set or the sort state. because it was 3 records and a sort. And you're like, well, why might you want to have this? Well, what if you had a layout over here for the executive team of your company or organization, and they need to see dollars and financials and things like that? On this screen over here has the same base table, but doesn't have that information. Maybe the context is different. So the sales team would see different things, right? I don't know if you want to give them the keys to the castle, because salespeople being what they are, they'll try to sell the castle. They just are. They love selling. If you meet a real salesperson, they just love selling. They don't care about they don't care what they sell. They just love selling, right? I've got one that works for me. I meet them at Claris. They're a funny group of people. Maybe some of you are like that. I know a couple of you watching this are like that, which is fine. Just understand that you might not give the sales team the same credentials as you would the vice president or the CEO of the company. But they're still the same base table under the hood, because both of these belong to the member table, the member base table, but they're different table occurrences, and they're in different tags, which means they have a different context. So how do you easily transfer one to the other? That's what Chris and some of these other people discovered quite by accident. I want to push a button and have it come over here and show me the 3 records in the same sort. How do you do that easily? Well, I could try to capture the found set and then script it to capture the primary keys of that we're looking at. But then I don't know how you capture the sort state, right? Turns out you could do it the hard way and code probably 20 lines of code to do it, or the go-to related record will do it for you. And you're like, what? And it's one of those little weird things that go to related record does. So I'm going to close this, pop back over here to Chris's description. And if I zoom in a little bit, you can see what he's saying. It's essentially this idea, say, for instance, you're in a found set of records and the detailed layout of contacts related to customer 2. And you want to transfer this found set of records in sort state, doesn't say that, but sort state, to another layout, right? But they both belong to the same customer table occurrence. In our case, it's called member customer table occurrence. Simply switching layouts, as we discussed, takes you to the found set of whatever was last established for customer table 1. If you're in the same window, if you in the same window, if you spawn a new window, you don't even get that. It'll kind of reset that layout. So understand that you don't keep any found set or sorts that you had on the first layout, doesn't move to the second one. Instead, you want to navigate to the customer 1 layout, which is our destination layout. So it's our sales team layout, using the go-to related record script step. You're like, whoa. For the get related records option, specify the table occurrence of the current layout. So this is not super intuitive. The rest of this is not intuitive at all, at least from my limited perspective. So we've already explained to you how go to related record work. So this is what you're going to end up doing. I'm going to go ahead and click out. I'm going to go to script workspace. I'm going to make sure this script is set up correctly because it wasn't set. We were demoing it earlier. We're on this layout here, which belongs to, remember, number 4. So let me move this over here. I got the screenshot. So we're on this that belongs to that. So he says target this. So I'm going to come over here and target 04. And then I can use the same layout, but that's kind of weird. It would pop a new window, and then doesn't really help us too much. But I want to target this other layout, and I want to target T06. So what's happening is that I told it to, if we're on the layout, we told it to basically hyperlight jump to itself and use this other layout. Just trust me on this. It's one of those things that you're going to forget about this, but keep this sample file to remember how this works. So you're going to say, show in a new related window, show me only related records. So it's going to pop a new window. It's going to use this as a frame of reference, but it's going to jump to T06. Normally with GTR, you tell it where you want to go. But this is kind of the other term for this is go to unrelated record. We're trying to jump to an unrelated record. Because if you think about it, this right here and this right here are not connected. So why would a go-to related record work here? It does. It would have been better if they would have created 2 script steps, one called go to unrelated record, because then I could train and explain to people without people thinking I've been snorting cocaine before I got to the live stream today. So it's not related in any way, but you target yourself, the table occurrence that you're on the layout you're on, that you want to jump from, and then you target the destination layout. And so you say, okay, and you have to say show only related records. You're going to hit okay. I'm going to hit save. I'm going to kind of close this. I'm going to close this because I don't need it. So we're over here. And so we're going to want to jump. If it's successful, we'll see 3 records and sorted. So I'm going to hit the button right here. 1, 2, 3, click. and new window, 3 records, sort state. But we've jumped context. We've hyperlight jumped to an unrelated layout, frankly, an unrelated layout on an unrelated table occurrence. The only thing that's common between these two is the base table. So that's what FileMaker did. It said, well, your base table is kind of the same. And even though it's not a related record, I'm going to do this like, I'm going to do this hyperlight jump for you and jump you there. This is not documented anywhere except by the community. So I want to thank Chris Moyer for documenting this and other people. I know there's it was pointed out during the live stream today, there's also a blog on Soliant's website. However, I can assure you that I'm teaching this at a very basic level. 2 things. What is go to related record? And generally, how does it work? And then how to misuse it in a constructive fashion. So this is called tog hopping, or AKA go to unrelated records. And to make it work, once again, you're going to target yourself and then tell it to jump to a layout which has the same base table, right? Because once again, at the bottom, base tables, and on top of that will be from a table, there'll be at least one table occurrence, and then above that, there'll be 0, 1, or more layouts attached to that. So we have one base table called members. We had 2 table occurrences that were never connected. TO4 and TO6 were never connected together. And there are 2 layouts that talk those 2 table occurrences, so they're not related. But at the bottom, down at the base of this thing, is a base table that is connected. So FileMaker, because the way it's designed, the way the engine, I think this frankly was an accidental artifact that Claris of the what they call the Draco engine. For those of you who wonder what the engine's called, there's an under the hood engine that Claris has created over the last 35 years or whatever it is. And they call it Draco, D-R-A-C-O, right? Draco. It used to be a classified code word. Now it's kind of in common vernacular. But that engine, it's really awesome. What makes FileMaker so great. But that engine also has certain little quirks, and this is one of them. So once again, over here, normally go to related record. You're going to target a location or target, maybe you're over here and you want to target that. You could do that too. But for it to work in its classic sense, when it activates, it has to be on a layout that is attached to one of these here. If you're attached to a layout that's not connected, the go to related record will fail. And the exception to that is if you're trying to jump to a table occurrence group that you're on, that you already belong to, like I'm already on TO4 with a layout and I try to jump there. So you're trying to jump to the same spot you're in, but then warp me across the galaxy down here to this table occurrence, to this layout down here. And so notice over here in the script, we never told to jump to TO6, right? See, that's the thing that's so misleading with this, is that we normally, for GTR, we tell the target table occurrence and the target layout. Here, we're saying jump to myself and then jump to this other layout, which the 2 aren't connected except to the base table. So I know I said this 12 ways, different ways. Hopefully you're not horribly bored. Hopefully you get what I'm saying. This also does work. It's kind of one of the things that blew up the conversation today in multi-file solutions. I'm demoing this locally here, but you can have it in a multi-file solution. It does work. But this is the idea of what is go-to related record. We discussed this, and you've seen it in other scripts, but I had to recap it here for people to really understand it, and then understand how, if you change the settings wrong but correctly, it will allow you to do this hyperlight jump or frog hopping from one context to another context. And because you're jumping there, it's going to preserve the found set and the sort state. Cool, right? All right, that's it today. We'll catch you next time.